They say these are very exciting times. They are. Some people say they're scary times. I disagree. I think these are very exciting times. When they're changing all the rules, we can do anything we want now. I say, let's kidnap some billionaires. Why not? We got a lot of problems. 5 guys have all the money. Let's go get them. Who's gonna stop us? Look, I'm all for you being a billionaire. Good job. Good job. You worked hard, you changed the world, and you're a billionaire. You get to be a billionaire for 24 hours. You don't start giving that money away to poor people by morning, we're coming to get you. Could you imagine $1 billion? I don't even dream like that, do you? One person, $1 billion? No, I used to be bothered by big dreams and high expectations. Not anymore. This is it, guys. This is it. We're already doing it. You did it. Good job.
Welcome to Money Unplugged. I'm Chris Hill. Thanks for being here. How are you doing? Are you staying warm? Have you dug yourself out of whatever snow and freezing rain has fallen in the past week? Remember, lift with your legs, people. For all the snow shoveling and ice chipping I have done over the past week, somehow I have managed to do it without messing up my back. And I am grateful for that. My arms are sore like crazy, but my back is functioning okay. I hope you're hanging in there. Today on the show, I talked with Denise Coursey. Now, I've known Denise for 20 years. We worked together at The Motley Fool, and if you looked at her resume, the headline would probably be the fact that she spent half a decade leading The Motley Fool's asset management business, which had somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.25 billion under management. And if you want to hear her talk about the financial industry or how to successfully launch new ETFs, hopefully she will be asked about those topics on another show, because what I wanted to talk to her about is the fact that Denise has a 4th degree black belt in karate. She is an instructor and co-owner of Virginia Dojo, and we had this conversation in the middle of the dojo. She was done teaching for the day, and it was a great chat. She grew up in Maryland with her parents and her sister. Her dad was a heavy machinery mechanic, and that's where this begins. So let's get into it with Denise Coursey. What's the earliest memory you have when it comes to money?
We didn't get an allowance. My parents had kind of my dad was like not an allowance guy. He's like, no, everybody pitches in to take care of the house. But we did get paid for our grades. So the method of that was, I think it was nothing for a C, $1 for a B, and $2 for an A. And it may have started at 50 cents to $1. And then on the other side, if you got a D, you paid the money back.
Oh, wow.
And if you got an F, and we're talking at the report card level, not like coming home with a quiz or something, but every quarter they would pay us for our A's and our B's, and we would pay them for our D's and F's, but that never happened. So I was probably, not surprisingly to you, a straight A student for the most part. A couple of B's. My sister's about the same. She struggled with school a little bit more than I did. But so that's kind of my earliest memory of sort of like starting to understand the concept of do something, get money, and how those things work together.
So it sounds like money was discussed in the home.
Yeah, it was discussed. I wouldn't say not sort of investing or anything like that, but we've talked before about kind of the scarcity mindset. And my sister and I were the first generation to go to college. My dad was, as I just said, blue collar. So, and he went on strike sometimes, was laid off on time. So it wasn't like there was always money to get we always had what we needed. There wasn't always a lot of extra money. So it was talked about in that way, I guess. So a healthy respect for money.
What was the first job you had when you were a kid?
Aside from like babysitting, my very first job, I worked at a 7-Eleven for my best friend's parents because they owned it. I think I started when I was 14, just the earliest you could get a work permit. And I stocked the refrigerated goods in the back.
Really?
Yeah. So I did other things, but like I could walk there after school, after high school. Like it was close enough to walk, and I would walk there, and for like an hour or so, I would go into the back room in the refrigerated section and restock the Cokes and the milk and all of that other stuff. And then I did stay there. Eventually I started working the register and the lottery machine, which I was technically not supposed to be doing.
I was just going to say, that doesn't sound legal.
No, but I won't give any names about who that was. And, it was all fine. But I started stocking the shelves. And
anyone ever hit the lottery when you were working there?
Not any big numbers. The time, I don't know that much about lottery anymore because it's all like scratch off. Do we even have daily lotteries anymore? Because there was like the 3-digit daily things that people would come in and to the money. That was sort of the saddest part of that. Like the same people would come in every day and they would
play the same numbers and lose. And if they did by chance win, I would pay out the money and they would buy more tickets. And it taught me a lot about, I don't gamble, I don't buy lottery tickets. That was an informative part of my childhood, I guess, watching that happen. Yeah, that seems like the natural reaction to having that job, or the natural offshoot of that is if you're seeing that play out on a daily basis, then you're probably not embracing lotteries, sports betting, all that stuff.
No, nothing. So
you go to college, Notre Dame of Maryland, and degree in English. Do I have that right?
Yes, English, secondary education.
Did you think you were going to be a teacher?
That was the backup plan. So
what was the upfront plan?
The upfront plan was writer editor, which is what I did. So, but it's kind of funny because that was a big writer editor was like a risk. So as soon as everybody was like, of course she's going to go become a teacher. And I did go down that route. I tried and failed to get a teaching job, not surprisingly, because I went secondary ed and I'm not a big person. And imagine 21-year-old me applying to be a teacher at high schools where the students were 3-4 years younger than me. I literally had one of the principals go, no way. Come back in 5 or 6 years.
We need teachers, but not you.
Yes. So,
did you find writing and editing work right out of college?
So I was, at the time I was in college, I had an internship for several years with the same writer. He's a local writer, and I would go to his house and edit for him and fact check. And he encouraged me to apply to NYU's writing program, which I did, and I did not get into. And then he encouraged me to keep calling them because I had been waitlisted. And eventually I did get in. I joined the writing program at NYU, Creative Writing and Fiction, and did 1 semester there, went into debt, back to the money thing. While I was doing that, I found a job at Macmillan General Reference as an editorial assistant. And 1 semester into creative writing program, I was like, you know what? I want to be an editor, and I got that job as an editor. I don't need to do 3 more semesters of creative writing and 3 more semesters of debt when I'm already kind of on the road to the job that I wanted anyway. So
I'm curious because and this has come up plenty of times on this show, the idea of the backup job, the safe job. For some people, it's go to law school, get a law degree because, you have that in your back pocket if you need it. In this case, it's teaching. Did your parents or other teachers in your life talk to you about sort of the financial risk of being a writer-editor? I mean, clearly not enough to talk you off it, but I'm just curious if any of them are like, well, you have the aptitude for this and this is great, but just know that financially it's a little bit of the roll of the dice.
I think that my parents would have definitely preferred that I go into teaching. That's clear. They pushed that. But they were also very encouraging of everything. I did, so it wasn't a real problem. But actually, I want to go back to the college thing if I can. Part of the reason that the whole like getting paid for your grades thing was important to me was my dad very early on said, you can go to college, I'm not paying for it. So I will support you, but not financially. Like, you got to figure out a way to pay for it yourself. And that seems, I think, harsh now, but I worked and I got scholarships and made it there. And then I think the interesting thing about that is part of the reason he didn't want to pay for it is he didn't have, he had only one brother who went to college, and he was a hot mess. So he had this like, he had this whole impression that college was going to be kind of corrupting in a way. So what my parents always wanted for me was a steady, good job with a steady paycheck and health insurance and, you know, retirement and all of that. So they were like... And
your dad being a union guy, it's like, hey, teachers unions, you got that too.
Yes, yeah. So so they encouraged me to go into teaching, but, you know, they're happy with where I ended up, so it all ended up fine.
It's interesting, though, that, but maybe not surprising, that, you know, he's got this experience with his brother, and that informs his impression of college, because he didn't go to college himself. And it's like, well, this is the closest example I have. It's not great, and that's affecting the way I think about my kids going to college.
Yeah, yeah.
So when and how does karate come into your life?
So
as we sit here in this dojo.
What's super interesting is I'm going to talk about my dad a lot in this, I think. It's so funny because the way it came into my life was not long after college, and my sister had graduated. She's 2 years younger than me. We're both living back, not with my parents, but in our hometown. And she's a geriatric social worker, although at the time she was actually a mental health social worker. She's fresh out of college, and she got a job working where she would go into the homes of people who are have mental disabilities and check on them, basically. And my dad is like, this seems dangerous. I would like...
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. And he said, I would like your sister to take some self-defense lessons, and she's not going to do it if you don't. And I'll pay for you both to go and do this. So
I'm not paying for college, but I'll pay for this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I did. We went and we took Taekwondo at the local YMCA. And I think my sister made it to like 3 classes. And I am got my black belt in Taekwondo, switched styles, now 4th degree in karate. It just like, that's how it started. It all started with my dad saying, please go learn to defend yourself. Help me get your sister into a better place. And then it stuck with me.
Was it something that just clicked with you right off the bat? Where you know, because it wasn't your idea. It's your dad's idea. And I'm wondering, was there a light bulb moment in the first class? At some point, something must have clicked in your brain.
Yeah, I kind of just loved it right away. But there was a moment, and I talk about this. There was a moment where I was like, this is just so cool. And it seems now so silly as I've been here for so long. But first of all, the teachers are everything. So I got a great set of teachers. It was, I don't know, it was only like probably a month or 2 in. And one of my teachers is like, I want you to break a board. And I was like, oh, I can't break a board. Are you kidding me? He's like, no, you can break this board. And so he, held a board for me for a basic kick. And I didn't think I could do it. And it was like, boom, 1 shot. And I was like, holy shit, I just broke that board. Sorry.
It's okay.
And then suddenly it's like, you just realize you have a whole lot more power in your body than you think that you do. That's what it all comes down to. And that was the moment where I was like, yeah, I just want to keep doing this. So like now I don't ever break boards, but karate is all about trying to get the most amount of power with the least amount of effort. So highest return on investment.
Also, you're one of the owners of this dojo, and boards cost money. So I'm sure, that's probably
true.
Part
now
of it
they
too,
do,
right?
but it's I don't want to say it's a parlor trick because it's not, but it is also like it's not the foundation. There's a lot more to it now. The longer I've been doing it, there's a lot more to karate than breaking boards. But the first time you do it, you're like, oh man, that is so cool. And
so
that helped me.
One more thing on karate before we move on, because there are, and I'm sure you have friends like this, there are plenty of people out there who do this for exercise. They do it as a hobby. They take it seriously. They train. They want to achieve higher, belt status. Or clearly, I'm not familiar with the lingo, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But this has clicked with you to the point where you're now a business owner, and I'm curious, when did that seems like a different level of commitment to say, it's not just something I enjoy doing and having these classes. I want to take the next step and financially commit to owning a dojo, running classes. I'm sure part of it comes from the desire to just teach people because you love it, but it is a higher level of commitment.
Yes, it definitely is. And I think, so where did that come from? It mostly came from, I enjoy the teaching, but in particular, I was always the only woman. Like for a long time, one or of only a couple of women in class, and I wanted more women to come to class because it helped me so much with so many other parts of my life. So I just asked, can I start running some women's only classes to see if I can draw more women in, and that was successful. So there's that. And once I started teaching, I loved the teaching part. And the sort of culture of karate is that you have an instructor, and then there's an air to that sort of, to their style of teaching, right? So my current instructor's 75, going strong. Like, I'm not messing with him. Nobody's messing with this man. He needed a partner. And I was like, yeah, this is great. I love doing this. I love teaching. And the business part, I've learned a ton. I don't always love all of that part. Like, figuring out Fairfax County permitting and
nobody loves permitting.
And there's a whole bunch of this business stuff that is like, so exhausting and unexciting. But then I show up to teach class and I'm like, yeah, I get to do this. So
I also feel like you could go back to that secondary school and handle yourself.
I do feel like I could. Yes, I definitely could. And I do sometimes think like it does all come back to, I did end up teaching. I'm teaching something that not that I would not have enjoyed teaching English, but I definitely enjoyed teaching this more.
If you are an investor and you're looking for an edge, you have got to check out Ticker. With Ticker, you get access to the same kind of data the Wall Street pros use, but Ticker makes it simple enough for everyday investors like you and me. You just go to Ticker, type in the name of a public company, and instantly you will see years of financials, insider trades, analyst forecasts all in one place, and you can try it for free when you go to ticker.com/unplugged. I've said it before, it's like having your own personal Bloomberg terminal, but you're not paying $30,000 a year for it. Ticker gives you an easy way to get investing ideas and learn from the best, because one more way you can use it is to track big-name money managers to see what they're buying and selling. Save time and try it for free when you go to ticker.com/unplugged. That's TIKR.com/unplugged. It is the cleanest, easiest way to look deeper into any stock and see what the pros are doing. All right, let's get back to Denise. How much did you and your husband talk about money before you got married?
When we got married, we had like the little, I forget what the class is called, but you have to like meet with your minister, right? And I remember we had to fill out all these little questionnaires. I'm not Catholic, so it wasn't like the Catholic level.
It wasn't pre-Cana.
Yeah, that's what that word is. But it wasn't that. It was like, 3 meetings with our Methodist priest, Methodist minister. And I remember him saying that the thing that couples argue about the most is money. And but do I remember talking to him much about it before we got married? No. But I remember Reverend Connor saying, "You're going to argue about money." And he was not wrong.
It was. I don't want to get overly personal, but do the disagreements around money, are they grounded in different upbringings around money? Because the way that money was talked about in your home, not everybody has that growing up. There are plenty of homes, particularly our generation, where it's like, no, we don't talk about money at all. Yeah,
I think it was there was probably a difference in upbringing, a difference in like socioeconomic status. Like, so his family's a little bit. His dad was literally a nuclear physicist. His mom's a double income family, so money was not as scarce, right? So you can kind of see where that goes, right? I'm going to be a little more controlling. He's going to be like, you know, he doesn't spend like crazy. I think when your marriage lasts, eventually you kind of come together, like you meet in the middle. Like, you'll be like, I became less controlling. He became a little bit more in line. But I wouldn't say we don't argue about money anymore. It was like an early in the marriage thing. And then the thing that fixed it, separate accounts.
Wait, how long were you married before you had separate accounts?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't remember when we did it, but it was a really long time. So we'll be married 30 years in October coming up this year. And we definitely had separate accounts at least 2/3 of that time. So.
Was it your idea or his?
It was my idea. Definitely my idea.
Did he embrace it immediately?
Yes, he did. Because the arguments that happened were because he didn't want to have to like monitor all of the money, like keep track of all, like he didn't want to have to run every purchase by me. And I didn't care what he was purchasing, but I did care that we didn't overrun our checkbook. Right? So we just said, okay, we're going to have one joint account that covers the bills. And I figured out how much it is. Like, each month we need this many dollars, and split it in half. 50% of it comes from my checking account into the joint account. 50% comes into his. I set up and the money to go out. The other 50% of each of our checks, or it wasn't 50%, but whatever is left, it's ours. I can do whatever I want with it. He can do whatever he wants with it, as long as the bills get paid with the joint account. And it was like huge, like that took so many arguments away. We're so much happier because of that.
When I sat down with Linda Rotenberg last year, that was one of the things that she talked about that really stuck with me. The whole idea of yours, mine, and ours.
Yeah.
We're going to have separate accounts. We'll have the joint account. And it was for basically the exact same reasons. Yeah. Let's go to the speed round. What is the thing you have bought that makes you happy?
It's my Breville coffee maker.
It's
like an espresso maker. It's like the fanciest.
Is that a brand name?
Yeah. I might be mispronouncing it.
Oh.
Briville. But oddly, our mutual friend Charlie Travers told me about his and how much he loved it. And when I left the Motley Fool, as a gift to myself, I purchased one. And it's been going strong. And it is I love it not because of the machine, but because it creates an experience for me every morning. Like, it's part of my ritual. Get up every morning early, sit and have my Americano and watch the sunrise. And that coffee machine, I mean, yes, I could make a regular cup of coffee, but like, it just.
But why?
Yes, exactly. So it creates an experience for me.
Have you ever made a purchase you regret, and at any point in your life, and sometimes you find yourself thinking about it?
I usually come back to my house, which sounds terrible because I do love my house, but
it's a love-hate kind of love.
It is. It's a love-hate kind of love because it's not the actual, it's not the purchase. It's not the money that was outlaid for the house. It is the upkeep of the house. Like, it's almost like I'm at a point where my life to be smaller, and the house is contrary to that.
What is the last thing you splurged on just for yourself?
I probably shouldn't say the coffee maker.
I hope you've splurged more recently than that.
I know. I know. I don't really splurge on myself that much. I don't think.
You're actually a person, I think, will have an opinion on this, given your education with the English language. Because I've talked with a couple of people before about when people hear the word splurge, they associate it with a large amount of money. Mm-hmm. And I think that's natural. I'm not trying to say we need to change the definition of the word splurge. But I have found myself over the last few years leaning into the urge part of the word, where it's just it's not about the dollar amount, it's about the impulse. And there have been times where I've splurged on a sandwich, where it's just like, I wasn't planning to spend money, but now that I've seen what the sandwiches look like, I'm getting one.
Yeah. I actually thought about the word, I've thought about it also as, to me, this time in my life, it's not necessarily the financial splurge, it's the time splurge. So I think of it as a splurge for me, and time is when I actually just take time for myself, right? So where I'm because I have a lot going on as a business owner, as I have another job on the side, I have, 2 dogs or whatever. So a splurge to me can literally be I'm getting up on Saturday morning and I'm not going to do anything until noon, or I'm going to read all morning. And I do that probably a little more frequently than a splurge would indicate, but
I like
yes.
this concept. We're expanding the definition of the word splurge.
Yeah.
And now it can include time.
Yes.
Splurging on time. I like
yes.
that.
Yeah.
What is one thing about money that you wish you knew earlier in life?
I've heard this before. I think lots of people have said this, that money is a tool, right? And I think I did know that earlier. What I've learned more recently is that it can also be a distraction. You can become so focused on sort of that money accumulation, and this comes from, I think, the scarcity mindset that we've talked about, that you forget, or you get so focused on, do I have enough, or is my money going to last, that it, especially when you do have enough, right? That it becomes a distraction to living your life. So that I wish, I'm still learning that. I feel like I'm still learning that, and I know it, but I have to remind myself of it.
What is a charitable cause that you like to support?
I like local organizations. So I do try to we do give to other bigger organizations, but 2 places that we support regularly are Lab Rescue, because we adopted our dogs from there. So the local Lab Rescue. And then I also have an association with an organization called the Friends of Guest House in Alexandria, which is a facility, a community for women who had been incarcerated and coming back into the world. And I guess the reason I have an association with them is I had during COVID, or right before COVID hit, I was running self-defense classes for them for free. And that's how I got my COVID shot early, because it's a residential facility. So they're like, if you keep coming and teaching, we'll get you vaccinated. So anyway, it's a lovely local organization, and they help women come back into the workforce and get back on their feet.
Do you have a favorite movie or TV series that has money as a through line?
I have a weird thing with movies that I literally can't remember them. I'll watch them and I'll be like, I love that movie. And then if you ask me 48 hours later, what'd you do over the weekend? I'll be like, I watched a movie.
But I don't remember which one.
Yes. Yes. So I'm gonna stretch on this one a little bit. And I'll give you 2. One is Moneyball, because I met Billy Beane on the Fool, on our fellowship trip. So like, I remember that movie now because I like met Billy Bean. So that one I think is probably a pretty common one. My stretch is there's a British series called The Detectorists, and I discovered it a couple of years ago, and it is about a club of men who use metal detectors and go out and they're looking for treasure. And money is not quite, you wouldn't necessarily see it as a money thing, but they're out searching for gold over the course of this series.
Absolutely sounds like a show about money. What's it called again?
It's called The Detectorists.
Okay.
Like, it's a really hard, I know it's a hard word to say.
That sounds like a perfectly British name for a show.
Yes. It's lighthearted and warm, and like the people in it are goofy, and they're out there with their metal detectors in the fields, a little bit of history, a little archaeology.
So it's a reality show.
No, it's fiction. It's fiction. It's scripted. And it's good and light, and it's a feel-good kind of thing, and I won't give it away, but yeah.
Last thing is a penny for your thoughts, and this is just any bit of wisdom that you've learned in your lifetime that you want to share with people who are listening. And if you want to pick something that's on the wall,
I might.
Because we were talking before we started recording, we're sitting in the middle of a dojo, and there are these quotes on the wall, and some of them are in Chinese, so thank you for translating those, but they're inspirational to say the least. I'm not trying to tip your hand. You can go with anything. It's your thoughts.
Okay. So there's actually one that's not on the wall yet that I didn't tell you about, and it's right over there. I just haven't had a chance to hang it. And it's a phrase in Japanese, ichigo, ichi-i. It means one moment, one life. And how I relate this to money, it'll relate to money, I think. So it can be mistranslated as you only live once, but what it actually means is every moment you have could be the last moment that you have with that individual, with that thing that you're interacting with. So it's about cherishing every moment that you have and every experience. It's about gratefulness. And I think bringing that back to money and the thought about money being a distraction, right? Ichigo, ichi, like focus on what else is going on, or focus on the individual moment that you're having.
Ichigo, ichi-i. You will find that and other forms of inspiration if you stop by Virginia Dojo. And hey, if you're not in the neighborhood, check it out online at virginiadojo.com. I put the link in the show notes. I'm Chris Hill. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.